about this video real quick. The reason I did this one first is because it does talk about the auxiliary ports for the customer, and well, it's got customer auxiliary. That's why I keep calling it customer. But basically your auxiliary ports, again, there's one here in the back, one in the middle on the left panel, and then one in the front in the trunk. So I wanted to make this one first so I could show those, and I talk about them, and also the button on the seat as well. The reason that I got the Cannonball seat compared to any of the others, like the Mustang seat or another one that's from Sling Mods that I really liked, would have been my second choice. Those were solid all the way through, so anytime I had to work on it or get to this part, you would have to take off the whole seat. So I didn't like that option. This one was made specifically for the Can-Am. It is kind of a Can-Am product. Another video I talk about on the Nanny, this little button has a trigger that when the person sits down in the back seat, it presses down and it makes the computer go a little bit slower. That way you don't throw the person in the back off of the bike. But there is certain ways to go past this. There is a company that's trying to make a little button out that does not get pressed down. But whenever you're riding by yourself, if you have a back seat, you do need to be careful of putting something on the seat, because it will mash this plastic down on the seat. Like if you have a book bag or carry another helmet or something to strap it down, it'll press this down and cause your bike to go a little slower. So you do want to be mindful of that. Whenever you're riding two up, that is what the reason for that is. Another reason I wanted to show this video too is because of this little customer accessory right here. And you'll see the sticker on it. It's a customer accessory circuit. On my bike, it comes up and around. It has this little plastic holder right here that has a negative and a positive end to it. It's a female end, so whatever you use, you'll have to have a male plug-in for that. It's pretty standard size, so there's nothing special you have to get. You can get these from any type of automotive parts. It's got some grease on it to protect it as well, to keep it from rust or anything like that. But this is one of 3 accessory ports. To put the seat on, the front seat, the driver's seat, there's a little hole here and a little hole here for the bolts to go into. And then when I talk about the front of the seat having a little clamp, it'll go up underneath this part right here, where my fingers slide through on both sides. So you put the seat in, you shove it underneath those, sit it down, and then you bolt it to these 2 points here, and I'll show that just a little bit later on in the video. Now for the back seat, wherever you go to put it on, there is a little bolt that goes down in here. That is the only thing on it, and it's one of the features that I don't like about this bike, because this side just lifts up like crazy, gives a pretty good gap. But that little bolt there is the only thing holding the seat on, other than this tether cord right here. Now these are the 2 little clips right here that go on the front seat. They will go underneath these little grooves in here, and then you place it down and bolt it to these. So I'm going to do that right now. We're going to take the seat, set it down in there, and just set it into place. Now I'll use a 10mm socket, and they have 2 little brass looking bolts that go on there with a washer. And that just goes down into that hole. Now I'm not going to show the taking off of the seat, because it is basically just the reverse of this. You'll remove those 2 bolts. And I always like to hand tighten things as much as possible before tightening it down. So there's the one on the right. And we'll put the one in on the left. Now I do not have a shop manual for this yet, so I do not know the torque settings. I go until it's just tight enough. I'm not going to kill it or what I call gorilla grip it. I'm going to make sure that everything looks good on there. So that's where it stops. Give it just a little snug turn, and on the other side as well. Tighten it down. That's where it stops. Give it just a slight little turn. Now that is basically how you put on the front seat. Again, to take it off, all you do is just undo those 2 bolts, lift the seat up this way, pull it back towards you and up at the same time. We'll be talking about this in another video, but now's a good time to show you. This is the original back seat. And as you can see, there is not a lot of padding there at all. That is all that they give you for the passenger. As you can see, it's pretty thin. It does have a good cushion. I mean, it's not horrible, but after a long ride, it does start to get pretty aggravating. Now, this is the back of the Cannonball seat, and as you can see, a whole lot more padding on there than what the other one had. Big, huge difference there. That is all foam padding. And I know it might be hard to see on the film, but it's basically, I would say, another inch to an inch and a half more than what was on there. Plus, it has this nice little curve here for the person, like a little tiny lumbar support almost. And just the way it's stitched and all is real nice. There are two little posts right here, or clamps, or whatever you want to call them. If you can kind of see that, hopefully you can see them. These two will go underneath the front seat in a little spot right here on each side. So first thing you want to do when connecting the seat back up is you want to take your little safety strap, secure it to that metal where the hole is open. Then you're going to put this in basically like you did the front seat. You're going to scoot it in to those little posts that I was talking about, and then just press down. Now here's what I was talking about earlier. There's a post right here. That is the only thing that keeps the seat on. So if you see this side, it lifts up an awful lot. Kind of a flaw that I don't like in the Can-Am. Another little pet peeve of mine. I wish there was some way to get this straightened out. If you're really paranoid about it, you can put like a bungee cord across the top. I've had no issues of it falling off, because if somebody's in this seat, they're sitting down on it enough to where it's not going to come off anyhow. Now, to remove the passenger side of the seat, you'll put your key in here, press down, and then take it to where it says the wrench right there. So I'm going to insert my key, press down on it, and turn it. I'm turning the bottom of it to the left. All right, so while holding the key down, pressing it to what I call the left, I'm just going to pop that off, lift straight up. Again, this is the pin that goes in the hole, and that's all it takes. You can take the cord off and take your seat off, or you can just lay it to the front, work on it, and then just put it back on.